Hello everyone, my name's Al and this is Metal Miner with my buddy CryptoCat. So this video is basically a vlog of how I got into crypto, where my journey began and what I've got going now. I originally started last February with an old gaming rig I had lying around. It had an RX 588 gig GPU which I put to work, and it started making me some money, which I found the whole concept crazy, that you can just use your computer from the home with an internet and it generates you money. I started using Nice Hash, which was basically like training wheels to get you into crypto mining. I then moved to Ethereum, which is basically a mining pool, which you go direct. You download a miner, you edit the config files, well, the batch files with the config, and you put your wallet address, your rig name, and then you set your overclocks and you're where you go. So on this rig we've got a Cooler Masters liquid cooled CPU cooler. I ended up having to mount a rad on the top because originally I was running my RX 588 gig GPU in it. Obviously I purchased a 3070 GPU and it's quite a large GPU, so the radiator ended up having to go to the top. It's running a Ryzen 7 3700X CPU. That's currently mining Raptoreum. We've got 2 sticks of Corsair 3200 DDR4. What else are we running? We're running, the motherboard is a camera focus. B450 Gaming Pro Carbon Max Wi-Fi motherboard. It does have some like shiny LEDs at the back. It's quite a nice motherboard. The carbon effect. We've got an MSI RGB little graph there. It's a graphics card support bracket. It's supposed to be, but I put it in just to fill the space. Another little light. It's got a smart RGB 700 watt thermal take. Power supply there. The bearings are a little bit ratty and it's going back on anime. It's a Core-Link 700 watt RGB PSU to replace that. And we got my other rigs on. So this is my first basically mining rig that I put together. Originally I did purchase a frame for it, but it took so long to arrive from China. I kind of like threw it together as quickly as I could, using what bits of what I had lying around at the time, and it's kind of stayed that way since February. We've got 4 3070s, version 1s, non-light hash rate cards, so that means they get full 60 mega hash on Ethereum. We've got a Silverstone 1300 watt 80 plus titanium power supply, which is a very nice power supply, but I could have done with some longer cables. As you can see, I ended up having to mount it at the top, which isn't the best with the heat, but I will be having another frame. Basically we'll do another video probably of taking this apart and putting it all nice into a newer frame. Kind of cannibalised an old PC up there just for the power button and the USB port. We've got an old hard drive which we were using on Chia for plotting, as it is quite intensive on the drives, so they were like throwaways. We've got a little cheapy CPU cooler, golden field, not the best of quality, but it does the job. We've got some XL R8 8 gigs of RAM, which is 16 gig is 2 sticks, and that's 3200 MHZs again. The CPU is a Ryzen 5 3600X, which is on Raptoreum mining currently. What else we got going on there? We've got the risers plugged into the PCIe connectors at the bottom. And then we got 14 terabytes external hard drive, which is farming my Chia. Just a bit of extra crypto coins. We've got another rig downstairs which I'll show you next. Alright, so this is my first gaming PC that I started with. I ended up completely rebuilding it. It's got a B450M Pro M2 Max motherboard, my mini micro motherboard with a Ryzen 5 3600X CPU. It's got a Corsair 8GB DDR4 3200 mHz RAM. There's my RX 580 8GB GPU. That's currently mining Ethereum, and the CPU is mining Raptoreum. Alright, this is my mixed rig of mixed GPUs and lots of RGB, as you can see. I like my RGB. Gives you extra mega hash. If only that. It consists of an RX 470 4GB GPU. It's currently mining Raven. The rig is doing a clean. As you can see, it's quite dusty. This is a GTX 1650 Super 4GB. This is on Raven coin as well. Getting just over 70 mega hash, which is not the best, but something. And then we got 5500 XT, 8GB. That's on Ethereum. We got 5700 XT Red Devil. That is on Ethereum. It's an 8GB card, and then we got the big boy then, the RTX 3090 Supreme X, 24GB. That's on Ethereum. Got a little fan just trying to cool it down because it does get quite hot. And then the motherboard is a piece. It's an old MSI PC Mate H1110. Processor is an i3 6100. It's got another 8GB of RAM, Corsair Vengeance Pro 3200 mHz, 8GB. You got the riser at the back. We've got a riser extension to USB. So it's PCIe to 4 USBs. You can connect 4 cards into one slot. We've got dual power supplies. I know they're not the best of the cheap Chinese ones, but it was all I could get at the time. Does the job. There's an 1800 watt one, and we have a 2000 watt one on the other side. Cannibalised an old PC for the power button, just so I can have a decent power button to turn on and off and make it easier. And then this is running on Hive OS on the little SSD. I kind of got my router ended up mixed up with the rig, but I'm going to have to move that at some point. Yeah, the cable management is definitely a thing that needs to be addressed at some point. We got a dual power supply connector, so we can run 2 power supplies here, as I just told you earlier. That's pretty much it. We get just over 500 mega hash on Ethereum. If you like this sort of stuff, like and subscribe. Hopefully I should have some future content coming. Thank you.